So I wanted to give you an update about how the concrete's looking after several years of use and abuse, and this concrete that we poured is holding up really well. I haven't had any new cracks at all in the concrete that I poured. Of course, my older part of the driveway that was poured, maybe 30 years ago, and I didn't do it, has had some, problems on the surface of it here, a little bit of erosion happening and chipping. But the concrete that I poured and added to my driveway has been very solid and had no problems. It's February 2020, and I think that was 2.5 years ago now that we poured the concrete. And we've had some harsh winters, even using a little bit of salt to get rid of ice on the driveway. We've had some harsh winters. I know that using salt is probably not good for the driveway, but in some extreme situations when it's really icy and snowy, we've had to a little bit. We live in Utah in a high elevation where we get a lot of snow and ice in the winter. Not too bad this year, but we have had several cold, icy, and wet winters, and the concrete's holding up very well. I don't see any cracks anywhere along this concrete here. So I think things have been holding up very nicely. This is that one little section that we poured, and then I'll show you the other section. But again, you can see that the concrete's holding up really nicely. Zero cracks, zero issues. So I'm glad that things have turned out nicely there, and it's been nice to have the extra driveway space for sure. Concrete we poured on the bigger section of the driveway. You can see up against the house here and up against the rock retaining wall. Did a lot of rebar reinforcement to make a kind of a step out of concrete right there. And like I said, everything's holding up really well. No cracks that I can see right now. The little bit of concrete crack filler that we put in, some of that is having some issues after have been in there for several years, and so, but even that's holding up pretty well. Those little crack fillers are. Have a little ramp there that my son built for a bike. But anyway, the concrete's been holding up very well, and it's been really nice to have the concrete instead of having. You can see the concrete goes up there, and we have like a little grass that goes up to our backyard, a little grass pathway. So that's why I just have a skinny piece of concrete right here. But anyway, having the added space in the driveway has been amazing. It's been nice to have nice smooth concrete with no gravel rocks that used to be there before. We store our garbage cans right here, and we can scoot our cars over, or bikes, or whatever we want to store over here. Has been really nice to have the extra driveway space. So adding to your driveway, it's a fair amount of work. It's hard work. I'm not going to lie. It's not easy, but it's well worth the effort to add to your driveway and make it wider if you need some extra parking space in your property. And it's holding up really well. So check out my video that I made about how to cure concrete properly. The timing of when you pour the concrete matters, and the temperatures matter. And if you keep it wet, it helps the concrete harden better and more slowly. You don't want it to dry up too fast and get too hot when the concrete is curing. So it doesn't matter how you cure the concrete. Make sure you do it in a way that's going to make the concrete as strong as it possibly can be. I guess I did find here, now that I'm looking really closely, I found a tiny little hairline crack right here on this curb. Very tiny little crack. Very subtle. Little tiny crack right there. Which that doesn't surprise me that there's a crack right here, because this is kind of the narrow point where it meets up against the rock retaining wall. So a little crack on that curb doesn't surprise me that much. As long as it stays small. There might have been a little bit of earth movement with the heaving of the freezing and thawing cycles in the dirt above. As that freezes and thaws, it might have pushed a little bit of that rock against the concrete and caused a little crack there. But a little crack in concrete is expected. I talked to a concrete contractor who's a friend of mine who lives in the neighborhood. He's the one who we borrowed the forms for to pour this curb, and he said that the only thing you can know 100% with concrete is you're going to get cracks. So even if you do a perfect job on concrete, you'll eventually get little cracks. But having said that, this turned out really nice, and been here for several years and had very minimal, if any, pretty much zero cracking, except for that one little tiny one I just showed you. So I think things have been holding up really well. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Even if you don't watch a lot of my videos, I just need more subscribers so that I can monetize my videos. I'm almost there. I'm at about 725 subscribers, and I need 1,000 so I can monetize my videos. So If you have enjoyed and found any of my how-to videos helpful, please subscribe and support my channel. Thanks for watching. I wanted to mention that there's no cracks. I wanted to mention that there's no cracks in the concrete that we poured, but there's also no new cracks in the concrete that was there before. Even though we drilled in holes and put rebar to help connect the concrete slabs together, I don't see any additional new cracks in the old concrete. There's a crack here, but that crack was there before we even did the addition of the concrete. So the cracks that are there now were already there before. And so things have actually held up really well and really nicely, despite having cold, harsh, freezing winters and warm and hot summers and the extreme temperature changes that happen in my climate. Things have still been holding up very nicely. And if you can do concrete right, it can hold up very well for a long time.